these stories, I think, really speak a lot to what's going on right now. And I will lead with Bernie. And the reason why Bernie's story is so important is because when you think about the divide on the left, a lot of it stems from a lot of people who didn't think Bernie was ever doing enough.
He's never doing enough.
Bernie never does enough.
It's never enough.
And I really wish people would understand that they had a vote in the Senate the other day for increase of 100,000 more police officers. I don't know if it was just in DC or was in basically the DC metro area, but 100,000 more police officers. Who do you think the senator was that didn't vote in favor of that? Because it's only one. I'll let you figure out who it was. Bernie really is on an island, almost by himself.
Yeah.
And that includes people that you think are progressive too and are really fighting behind him. Trust me, they're not.
No. Because
they will always be met with another opportunity. Bernie has 0 F's to give. He always has. He has always, and you could say he's even pragmatic from the standpoint of he is looking to do as much damage control as humanly possible. But I will say this, for everyone who has chastised Bernie for saying, my good friend Joe, as a matter of fact, let's see what Bernie does have to say. Let's see what Bernie has to say.
It's a travesty.
Well, look, I heard you were talking about me, and I wanted to come in here and make sure that people understood that we are making some progress on the Hill right now, Jen. It's very important that people understand this. But this reconciliation bill, $3.5 trillion, it's going to finally address climate change in a way that's never been addressed before, and it's very, very important. And I need people to know that we are working very hard, not only for that, but we are going to lower the Medicare eligibility age. We are going to include vision, hearing, and dental. We are going to make sure that the working people of this country are finally going to get a piece of the pie. That's what I wanted to come in here to say.
Okay.
I know we're trying really hard. Hope you appreciate that.
Yeah, we do. We appreciate that. So the reconciliation bill, and this is something that they're really willing to do. I don't know that I believe that this is going to happen until it happens.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's going to be some roadblocks, but the one thing I will say is, and this is the big difference, and I will say maybe the one really positive difference between Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton is that because of Bernie's relationship with Joe Biden, he saw to it that Bernie did become the chair of the Senate Budget Committee. And by being in that position, Bernie is in a very, very powerful spot to make sure that potential policy that is going to be enacted in this reconciliation bill could be as substantial as anything since the Great Society. Now, that's really saying something. You're talking 60 years, or almost 60 years. The idea that we could potentially have real progress in the environment and in healthcare, I think is incredible. That to me really speaks a lot to what we might be able to accomplish. And you got to tip the hat to Bernie. He really had a lot to do with this. The buck really does stop with him. Now, are they going to ultimately make a deal that's going to involve Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin? Yeah, maybe. That may be part of the process, which stinks. But Bernie by himself has really made an incredible impact. And the fact that he's still fighting at the level that he's fighting at, I know we want a lot of what we want, but my goodness, if that man has not left it all out on the field, he really has. He's completely left it out on the field and can't say enough. And of course, in Bernie's case, he not only is advocating for this, but he made sure to have an op-ed wrote on the Fox News channel. He's appealing to the GOP and saying, I want to explain to you why this is going to be good for you.
And then he gets criticized for that, of course, right?
Yeah.
Some people give him a hard time for going on Fox.
Or other people who say, I just won't go on Fox, because that's smart.
Let's ignore half the country.
Yeah, let's ignore half the country. Because it isn't just Fox. It's everything. It's Newsmax. It's OAN. It's all the conservative radio networks. If the sound bites get out there and people hear that, it's kind of like when Bernie was running for president, went on the town hall, and you had the Fox News audience cheering for what he was talking about.
Of course.
So it makes sense to have these conversations, just like we had with Carol Roth. And we'll have more conversations because we have to find a way to bring everybody together. And again, less fighting on the online left, more advocating for things like this, more involvement in the issues that really matter. Because if we did unify, like a Tea Party-like unification, it'd be amazing what we could accomplish. That's for sure. Right, Lou?
Let's go from that to the ugly. Let's go to bye, Felicia. Bye-bye. I was trying to figure out how to do a door with like, don't let the door hit you on your way out, as you know, toward Cuomo. But then I just thought the bye, Felicia was just so perfect.
If there was anybody who doubted that Governor Cuomo was not going to leave office kicking and screaming, I don't know what you're looking at. But what I think will be very interesting is whether or not Cuomo will ultimately spill the beans on a lot of other people, like their skeletons that they're hiding in their closet, because he's being cast aside. Now,
well, I think he'll try to, but ultimately he's the person that has created a completely toxic work environment in the state. And there are so many complaints about him, not even just sexual allegations, just in general. Like, he's just a bully.
He is.
He's just a bully. And nobody wants to work with that anymore. Nobody should tolerate that. That's crazy.
No, and the fact that he was, as much as anybody, was stymieing any type of progressive legislation. But again, this comes back.
But he's such a good Democrat.
Oh, he's such a good Democrat.
He's such a good Democrat.
Well, aren't you a Cuomo-sexual? Just a little?
Cuomo-sexual.
Are you just a little Cuomo-sexual?
I find him repulsive.
Oh, come on.
And I think
you're just a slight bit Cuomo-sexual.
Oh, no.
You
And I
definitely
think
have to
he could
enjoy
take his little brother Fredo with him. Bye-bye.
Well, that's what's going to be interesting next. And did you see little Brian Stelter go on TV and defend Chris Cuomo? Oh, he's doing a great job. He's doing a great job, Stephen.
That your Brian Stelter sounds a lot like your Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, I want to get in trouble for that one. No, but why do people make fun of me? I am a very masculine man, and I believe in Chris Cuomo. Cuomo believes in me. He even pats me on the head, tells me what a great job I'm doing.
Oh my God!
Brian Stelter he's the worst. He really is.
So...
If you are in trouble and you need somebody to be your PR person, it better not be Brian Stelter, because it's only going to make the circumstance even worse. But
was there anything you wanted to say about Cuomo other than bye-bye?
I'd like to know if he's going to give back the $5 million from the book deal that he signed. That'd be nice.
I doubt he's giving anything back.
Is his political career over?
Yes.
Yeah.
He'll go into commentating. He'll end up writing a book. He'll do whatever.
Another book.
Oh yeah, he'll have like a tell-all. It'll be a whole thing. He'll go into some, I don't know. He's slimy.
Well,
he's so slimy.
Again, we don't have a lot of good to say about the corporate or the establishment Democrats in general, but we do like to tip the hat of the fighting spirit. And of course, Jen was a Texan for a number of years.
I was. Well, okay. My son is a Texan. He was born
born in Texas. So technically would be a Texas. So there you go.
Yeah.
And so the fact that the Texas Democrats really are taking the fight.
They did. All those bills got killed.
Yeah.
And for people who don't remember, and we had Representative Jasmine Crockett on our show from Texas, talking about the move from the Texas Democrats, that they walked out and they had to leave the state for a month. They went to DC and they were there, but they had to stay out of Texas for a month. And then the bills would get killed, and they did. So they really took a stand. And so now what's happening is the House Speaker has just signed arrest warrants for the Democrats for still refusing to return. But all it said, and the move came hours after a ruling by an all-Republican state Supreme Court that said law enforcement can round up rogue legislators and bring them back to the state capitol's House chambers. But now what I'm wondering is, let's say they do that. Let's say they send out their posse and they go round up the rogues and all that, and they bring them to there. Now what? What are you going to do to them? You're going to lock them in there? Like, what? I don't understand what the point of that is. Like, what is that? Because this is civil. It's not criminal. I don't understand. Like,
this is why I feel we feel so obligated to communicate with, especially, the libertarian right, because we are so divided as a country that this is what we're reduced to. We are reduced to the Texas GOP basically grandstanding and arresting the Texas Democrats.
So the 52 warrants, so it's 52 of them, 52 warrants seeking the arrest of the fugitive Democrats.
Fugitives. They're
rogue fugitives.
They're fugitives.
Will be delivered to the House Sergeant at Arms on Wednesday. So this is something that is, I'm very curious to see what happens. They still have not met quorum, and they're praying that, no other Democrats willingly go to the floor. So they're trying to hold strong. We'll see. We'll see if, what happens with this.
We will.
It's like an ongoing saga, but go Texas Dems.
Mallory, I'm going to attempt to do
it's
the
not
best.
good.
I'm trying. Well,
it sounds like Brian Stelter.
No, I know it sounds like Brian. Well, again, I don't do women very well.
You don't do women well.
But Elizabeth Warren is fine as long as she's voting the right way. That's okay. So, nevertheless, we do have one more important story to cover that I knew that Jen was going to want to tackle, because the Julian Assange case just does not die. It doesn't die. I believe it will die. It's just a question of when it dies. They just don't want to let it go. And the fact that their key witness has admitted that he was lying, and he's also a sexual assaulter on top of that.
Nice.
It's at what point does this end is my question. Why the Justice Department is still trying to pursue this.
I don't understand. Like, what do they think is going to happen if they succeed in extraditing him and bringing him here? Do they not think that we're going to not everybody flock as many people as we could possibly get over to the Eastern District of Virginia?
And I also don't think they want, you see, that's the thing. If he actually was brought here, then that would really cause a stir. Like, that would really get a lot of people into the streets. And I don't think they want that type of PR. Like, that's the type of PR.
But this doesn't make sense, though. So basically, a UK judge has sided with the U.S. In the latest bout of the extradition hearing saga, and potentially misleading evidence that spared him from extradition. So Julian Assange is once again being threatened with extradition to the United States after a surprise decision by a British judge to re-examine potentially misleading evidence about the state of Assange's mental health. The U.S. government was given permission to expand its appeal against the decision to block Assange's extradition on Wednesday after its lawyers argued that the decision was based on unreliable evidence. Okay, so then this is going back to what had happened in January when the barrister ruled that he could not be extradited for mental health reasons, and also because, like any other civilized nation in the world, they question our corrections institutions and didn't feel, that humans should be subjected to that. So that's why he wasn't extradited. So now he was accused of is that the King's College? Okay, Kopelman, head of neuropsychiatry. Okay, so they're still going back to the guy who was the bad witness. I don't understand why they're trying to pursue this. It's not going to end well for anybody.
No, and again, the reason they're doing it is because they're just trying to send a message to anybody. It's kind of like people who run for Congress that are doing it as a non-corporate candidate trying to challenge the corporate establishment. They're basically just trying to send a warning shot that, hey, this is what's coming for you if you try to challenge us. And because we're such an ununified movement right now, that they're able to get away with it without really any pushback, to be honest. So I think we're, in a way, after what Tim Black did, we're kind of casting the net right now to basically say to everyone, especially who's a content creator that's out there, this is your opportunity to show what is really important to you. Is it more important to try to build a brand and have a career as a podcaster?
They love it. They sit there and be like, oh my God, he only has this many views and we have this many views.
We actually had a person come on here who did that I'm not kidding.
I know.
Because did you see that?
No, but
so somebody came on, it was like, oh, well, you guys are getting a bunch of downvotes and I got a 30-to-1 like ratio. I'm like, who cares? Like, why do you think this matters? It doesn't matter.
These people are so entitled and privileged that they can afford this. They can afford to sit around and scroll through people's chats to see who supports them. They have the time on their hands to sit around and do that. They have the time on their hands to be busy knowing what everybody else is doing and constantly calling out everybody else. They have a lot of time on their hands. It's unfortunate that they don't use it for good.
It is. It is unfortunate. And that in itself is why we are not able to get where we want to go. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to get there if we start to get serious about consolidating our network and recognizing that we have to have camaraderie and a unified front. And if what's more important to you is the career and not the movement, that will be determined very, very soon.